Hey everyone, this is John with Boardroom Gaming. I'm here today to go through the rules and playthrough of Ticket to Ride New York. This is a game that's 2 to 4 players, about 10 to 15 minutes of playtime, brought to us by Days of Wonder. We just picked this up not too long ago from our local Target. Played through it, really enjoyed it, so I figured I would get the rules out there for everybody in case you don't know how to play it, and then I'll give a quick little recap afterwards of what we thought. Alright, we're going to get this game set up for 2 players really quick, and then we'll go into the gameplay. We'll pull out the board, which is our map of New York City. It's got all the different destinations that we'll be traveling to. And then each player is going to pick their color taxi. We're going to have teal and white for this video. Next up is the transportation cards. I'm going to give these a good shuffle. You'll deal 2 cards to each player, and this will be their starting hand. You're going to take the rest of the deck of transportation cards, set it to the side of the board, flip the top 5 cards face up, and this will be your starting pool. One little thing to note here, if you have 3 or more taxis that show up in your initial pool or at any time in the game, you're going to discard the cards that are available and deal 5 new cards. Next up are the destination cards. These are the cards with the yellow backing on them. We're going to give these a shuffle, deal 2 to each player, and then these are going to be your secret objective throughout the game. You don't have to keep both of them, but you do have to keep one. Let's take a second to talk about the destination cards really quick, since this is a pretty big part of scoring points in the game. Each one has 2 cities that are connected by a dotted red line, so those are the routes that you're trying to complete. For each of those routes you complete, you'll earn the number of points that's in that red circle in the bottom left-hand corner of the card. Once the destination cards are handed out, you're ready to start the game. The object of the game is pretty simple. You're trying to claim routes between 2 cities that'll hopefully build your destination ticket. And you're trying to connect the tourist attractions, which are signified by the ones with the circles around them by each city. Alright, so now we got our game all set up. I've got my destination cards over here, my transportation cards, and I only have these face up for the sake of this video. Typically you'd want to keep them hidden from other players, since these are your objectives that you're trying to score. I've got my taxis here, we've got our draw pile set up. So now we're going to get into the player turns. The first action that you can take is drawing cards from the transportation pile. So you can draw 2 cards. You can either take from the face-up pile, or you can take the top card of the deck. If you take from the draw pile, so for example, I'm going to take this pink card. You would replace it immediately, and then again you would have your choice of the cards face up or the top card of the deck. The only exception to this would be this wild card here, this taxi. If you were to take this, it would have to be the first card that you take, and it's the only card that you would draw. So I don't really like any of my choices here, so I'm just going to go ahead and draw one from the top, and I got a red. Perfect. So that's the draw phase. There's always going to be 5 cards face up. If you ever run out of cards in this deck, you just shuffle your discard pile, which is off to the side here, and then you would start over. The second option that you have would be claiming a route on the board. So for this, you would discard the number of cards for each, depending on the route you're doing. So one of my destination cards has me going from Greenwich Village to the Empire State Building. So if I find the Empire State Building up here, and I find Greenwich Village down here, boop, those are the routes I'm trying to get. So I would either need 1 red or 1 blue to claim this route. If I wanted to claim this one, it would be 2 pink or 2 black. So I could technically fill any of those right now. So I think I'll do the 2 pink. So I'm discarding these 2. Put my 2 taxis on there. 1, 2. And that would be claiming a route. So any of these gray ones can be any color you want to. It just needs to be 2 of any color or 3 of any color. The same rules as the ones that actually have a color. You just need to make sure that they match, and they can be whatever color you choose. And then in these double routes, another player would be able to claim the other half of this route. So they would play 2 black train cars to claim the other half of this route, and then nobody else would be able to claim it. The other portion that you can do is drawing additional destination cards. And much like the beginning of the game, you would draw 2 cards. 1, 2. And then you don't have to keep both of them. So in this case, I've got Chelsea to Wall Street, and I've got United Nations to Wall Street. The routes that I have don't really have me going through either of those areas, but I do have to keep one, so I'll keep the Chelsea to Wall Street because that might mix better with what I'm trying to do. If if you keep both, fine. If you don't keep both, the one that you don't keep goes on the bottom of the deck. Um, and those are your 3 actions. So you keep going back and forth with each player until you get to the point where any player has 2 or less of these taxis left, and then you're going to get into end game scoring on this little pad here. Neat little pad. They give you a pad, a little pencil to fill out. This is pretty straightforward. So at the end of the game, you're going to count. There's a little scoreboard down here. For each route that contains 1 car, so these little single routes, you're going to get 1 point. For the 2 cars, you're going to get 2 points. For the 3 car routes, you're going to get 4. And for this 4-point route over here, which is the only one on the board, you're going to get 7 points. So you'll go in and you'll fill out your name, and you'll total up the points for each of the routes that you have. The next one are your destination cards. So you can see on these, each one has its own point value in that bottom left-hand corner. So for each one of those, you would add in the points that you get. So this one would give me 6 points. This Gramercy Park to Chinatown would give me 4 points. And then for any that you don't complete, you would subtract the value. So if I had these 2 completed and this one not completed, I'd get 10 for these minus the 3 for these. So I would have a total of 7 points that I would fill in for my completed destination routes. And then the last one are the tourist locations. So you can see on the board here, some of them have this little 1 point marker on it. For each of those that are included in your route, you would gain an additional point. So you would just go through your whole route, wherever it ended up being, and anywhere that those are connected to your route, you would tally up your points. And then the player at the end with the most points wins. And that's the game. So that's Ticket to Ride New York. Like I said, we played this quite a few times, not only because it's a really short game with 10 to 15 minute playtime, but because we can take this with us. The day we bought it, we went to a brewery afterwards, and we got 2 or 3 playthroughs out just while we were hanging out there. It's a game that's probably going to travel with us to a lot more places because it's such a small box to put it in. The board and everything only takes up a small portion of the table. It's great for 2 players. There's a lot of back and forth. With that being said, I don't think I'd recommend it as somebody's initial Ticket to Ride experience. I do think probably benefit more from the Ticket to Ride Europe or just regular Ticket to Ride, just because it is a bigger board. You kind of get more of a feel for what the game is. It's a longer play time, obviously, 30 to 45 minutes, I believe. But this is a great game. We'll be playing it a lot. Let me know what you think in the comments below, if you think this would be a great entry-level game or if you think one of the regular games is better. And as always, like and subscribe to the videos. If you want to see more, comment. Let us know in the comments below, and we'll see you next time. Until then, happy gaming.